People are filing for bankruptcy at an alarming rate, and what's even more shocking is how young many of them are, with some under 30 already drowning in debt they can't manage. At 29, you're supposed to be building your life, buying a home, starting a family, or saving for the future, but instead people are forced to start over financially because of credit cards, student loans, medical bills, and poor financial decisions stacked together. The reality is that the economy is challenging, but a lot of this could be avoided with proper money management, budgeting, and foresight, yet many young people fall into the trap of living beyond their means, chasing instant gratification or trusting that loans and credit are a solution instead of a temporary crutch. Banks and credit companies make it easy to accumulate debt, offering high limits and low monthly payments that seem manageable until interest piles up, and suddenly the monthly minimum is more than a paycheck can handle. Medical bills also play a huge role, especially for those without adequate health insurance, and unexpected emergencies can spiral into financial disaster before anyone realizes what's happening. On top of this, social media creates an environment where people feel pressured to display a lifestyle they can't truly afford, adding unnecessary purchases and stress. Filing for bankruptcy may seem like a last resort, but it's becoming increasingly common as young adults try to reset their finances and escape the burden of insurmountable debt. This isn't just about poor choices, it's also about systemic issues like predatory lending, high cost of education, and economic instability that make it almost impossible for young people to recover quickly without major setbacks. It's a stark reality and a wake up call for anyone who thinks financial struggles won't hit until later in life. Check out some of these videos.
Paid off $32,000 worth of debt, and I want to keep the ball rolling, so make a micropayment with me. Hi, my name is Casey, and I've given myself a year to pay off debt. I got 2 credit cards and 2 personal loans. It goes up a little over $27,000, and I want to pay that down in a year. So let's just try to get into it, okay? I'm sick as a dog, and I want to go to bed. So we are doing the micropayment challenge, which is where I take the engagement from yesterday's video and make a payment to my Chase credit card, which is the first of 4 debts. Consider engagement to be views, likes, comments, and new followers, and I do a 1/4% per engagement. I ask you a question at the end because I want to get to know you, and I want you to get to know me. So let's jump right into it. Yesterday's video had 809 views, 82 likes, 11 comments, and 3 new friends. Hey, new friends. I'm so happy that you're here. Which brings our total engagement to 905, and at a 1/4% per engagement, that brings our payment to $2.26. Now, I get paid on Friday, and the interest hit. So I started this card with like $1,553.27 or something. The card is saying I have $1,552 and like 9 cents, which is asinine because I got hit with an interest charge. So when I get on Friday, I have to pay the interest charge, and then we can be back on track. Okay. My question for y'all today is, what's the weather like in your area? Because today it was really nice. It was like almost 60, pushing 60s. And now it's windy as all hell. Like, I'm surprised our power hasn't gone out yet. And the generator hasn't kicked on. And it's going to be like freezing tomorrow. My poor animals are going to be so like whiplashed from this fucking weather. But yeah, so thank you guys for hanging out. I will see you tomorrow. Okay, love you, bye.
I owe $200K in student loan debt, and that is the best financial decision I've ever made in my life. I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out. That debt came from undergrad and pharmacy school, but like I said, that was the best thing I've ever done for myself. I have a stable career that's always going to pay 6 figures. I have a 750 plus credit score. I have enough money in my savings to where if I were to lose my job today, I could maintain my current lifestyle without making any changes for at least a year. To some people, owning that much money might sound insane, but I didn't come from money. Not saying I was dirt poor, but I didn't have a college fund. I didn't have a credit card I got to use. I paid my own rent. I even went years without having health insurance. I worked horrible warehouse jobs in 90-degree plus heat next to people who actually were doing it with whole families. That right there was enough of a wake-up call for me. To this day, I still get excited about having health insurance. I can save money. I can shop when I want to. I don't miss any payments on my bills. I travel when I want, and I have stability. And that was the main thing. I wanted that stability. That's not something I always felt like I had. The trade-off is I have to set aside money to pay back every month, but I would literally pay double that for the current lifestyle I have. For me, the return on investment was worth it.
I don't want to be in debt anymore, and I'm making a plan to pay it all off by 2028. So I'm not talking about my mortgage. First, if you're new here, I'm Raven, and my husband and I on our 3rd debt payoff journey, but this is going to be the last. We have a total of $80,621.46 of debt. Once upon a time, it used to be more than that, so we made progress, baby. So here's how that $80,000 is broken up. $12,790.90 goes to my car loan. I drive a 2020 Acura MDX. We plan to pay that off early in 2026. $29,364.97 is my husband's truck loan. He drives a 2019 GMC. And the rest is my student loans, $38,465 and some change. My student loans are broken into like 9 separate loans. Let me show you what that looks like. You can see it's broken into a few different loans. Here are the balances of each. You can see I paid some off in our first debt-free journey, and each has a different interest rate. So with all that debt, we pay a total of $1,546.96 in minimum payments a month. Do you know what we could be doing with that money? The goal for 2026 is to pay off my car and put a huge dent on my husband's truck loan. But you really never know what the year is going to bring. I'm excited to see what happens. If you're on a debt payoff journey too, follow along so we can do this together. Because get in, girl, we're paying off our debt.
This is a little embarrassing to post, but I've been sharing my debt payoff journey with you guys. If you've seen any of my recent videos, I've been paying off my Discover card, and I do that by shopping for Instacart, which we're almost done with that card. It's so exciting. I'll talk about that in a minute. I thought that I would share kind of why I'm doing this and where all my debt came from and a breakdown of all my debt. Let's just get right into it. A little background of why I have so much debt, and this is not the reason for all of my debt. By no means. I had surgery in November 2024. I had a laparoscopy. I have endometriosis. A lot of the expenses for that surgery I just put on a credit card because I had no other way to pay it. Other parts of that surgery are just bills that they sent me, which I'll get into. The Discover card that I've almost paid off, it started in January of this year. It was at $4,900. So the fact that we're at $200 now is insane. I'm reading some notes, so if I keep looking to the side, that's why. But the Discover card was at $4,900. Right now, as I'm making this, it's at $286. I'm not going to count that towards the total today because we are going to pay that off before the end of the year. I already know we are. That was the first credit card that we've pretty much knocked out. The second one is a loan with my bank. This amount was on my Discover card before I had surgery. I did a consolidation loan and I transferred it to my bank. That one is at $3,600. Next is my Capital One card, and this one I'm probably the most, I guess, embarrassed about, but at the same time, a lot of like necessary expenses were put on there. I did put some medical bills on there, if I'm not mistaken. I had to get dental work. I put it on this card. So a lot of the card was for necessary stuff, but not everything. That one, I hate this one. That one is at $3,339.75. That is the next series we're going to do, is my Capital One card, only because the interest starts accruing for that card on March 17th, and I really don't want to pay interest. That's all for my credit card debt. Like I said, there are some other medical bills. Honestly, I'm not paying that much attention to them. They're kind of just like hanging out there, but I do have a bill from when I had to get anesthesia during my surgery. It's $2,009.60. I have another bill from the hospital that I was at, basically for just being there. That one's $3,375.86. Now we're moving on to the bigger things, which I don't really consider this like debt, but it does count. My car. I drive a 2024 Chevy Trax. The bill right now is at $21,286.38. I obviously pay that monthly. That's probably another one I really want to work on after my credit cards. The last one is another one that I don't really pay attention to. It's my student loans. I only don't really care for that because they haven't required me to make a payment ever. I don't think a payment's due until like a year from now. And I graduated 3.5 years ago. So I don't know. It's just minding its business. But my student loans are at $21,096.75. So that gives us a total of $54,708.34. Yeah. Again, a lot of it, I will say it's not necessarily my fault, I guess. A lot of it was for things that were necessary. Literally, us just needing groceries sometimes were put on credit cards. But if you're in credit card debt, literally don't be embarrassed about it. Most of it is because it is so hard to survive in this world, and we all just use credit cards just to get by. So if you're in the same boat, don't be embarrassed. Maybe try Instacart. It's really helped me. I have had these debts for a little while, so that's why I'm trying so hard and doing Instacart so much to pay them off. Also trying to pay it off really fast because I'm getting married. So I just wanted to give some context behind like all the Instacart videos. I felt like they were kind of just being posted and didn't have any context behind it. So I'm going to pin this video at the top of my page. If you've been watching any of those videos or watch this one all the way through, I appreciate it so much. Those videos are so fun to make. They're definitely not going to stop. Like I said, the Capital One card is next. And yeah, who knows? Maybe in 2026 we can knock out like most of this. Maybe not the student loans, but most of it. Bye.
I'm 25 years old and I owe $31,000 worth of credit card debt. I am going to be on a debt payoff journey in 2026. I did the calculations and the goal is to make $85 a day. And if I do that, my debt will be gone by the end of the year. I know I'm not the only one in this much credit card debt. Some of you have more than I do, some of you have less. It's still not something I am proud of. I do see it as just a number now. My mindset has completely shifted when I look at this financial situation that I am in. I am choosing to look at it positively. I am choosing to make something out of it. I do plan to share my journey on TikTok with you guys. So follow along if you want to see me pay this debt off and give me some ideas on what I can do to make $85 a day.
The other day, I was talking to one of my dearest friends, kind of hinted to her that I was considering getting a little side hustle, a part time job, a second job, just something to bring in extra income. I was met with immediate judgment. She kind of looked at me and said, "Oh, really?" Totally looking at me like, why the heck would I do that? A little taken aback. I was not expecting her to pass judgment on me. But then I kind of put back into perspective. There's a lot of shame around debt, whatever that looks like, credit card debt, school loan debt, whether that be shame that you put on yourself or shame that others put onto you. But what I don't think that we should do is shame people for trying to better their situation. I currently am 32. I'm single. I don't have any kids. I have time. I have energy. So if I wanted to fill some of my free time with a second job, you would think that somebody who supports you would be happy for you. They know that I made some pretty dumb financial decisions when I was 18. Heck, even when I was 25. I know that I'm not alone. And I know that, yes, I'm in my 30s and I'm paying for those mistakes now. I'm working on it and I have an action plan and it's in action and we are paying it off.
I think being in a debt payoff journey, being in debt, all of that, the most shameful part of it is the judgment from everybody else. Because for me, I don't really feel much shame about it just because I know what happened. I regret it, but like I can't keep living with that regret. So I'm like, whatever about it now. But it's the judgment from other people and the looks that they give you, the things that they say to you. And it's all about the judginess about it. And it's like, well, yeah, okay, sorry I'm in debt. Sorry that you're not. Sorry you're perfect, but I'm not. And so it's just frustrating when I see people all over the internet just judging people. And it's like, oh, I'm so glad that you're not in this situation. I'm so glad that you can't relate. But unfortunately, that's not how it is for a lot of us. And I like the people who have been in debt and are out of debt now and can recognize, like, you know, it sucks. I relate to you. But the ones who got out of debt, they were in so much debt and they got out of debt, now they're debt free, and they're the ones judging. Why are you judging? Because you should not be judging at all when you've been there before. You were one of us before. So I'm so tired of the judginess. That's what's irritating about it, because I only feel shame because people judge. And honestly, let's not judge people on something like this because there's nothing we can do about it. I'm tired of the judgment. Enough is enough.